What's up everyone, and welcome back to more Reddit stories about Karens, crazy people, and all that kind of stuff. So as usual, let's get right into today's Reddit posts. Boyfriend woke me up at 2 a.m. to make him dinner. I made him leave instead. I am seriously never dating again. So I became official with this guy a couple months ago. He was sweet, kind, funny, gorgeous, the usual stuff. Everything was fine. We'd stay at each other's places, have date nights, general relationship stuff. In short, no red flags. A couple beige ones here and there, but everyone has those. Then came the other night. He's currently having to pick up the slack at his job due to multiple people quitting. We decided to spend the weekend at my place since his roommates can be quite loud, and he needed to concentrate on fixing a system at his job so he can remotely work. Friday is fine. We stay in, and in between his working, we do the usual couple stuff. Saturday comes, and something has gone wrong and the stress is doubled. So he isn't eating anything I make, which is fine. I simply remind him there are leftovers in the fridge. By 11 p.m. he's still working, so I head to bed. I am then startled awake by him at 2 a.m. shaking me, telling me he's hungry now. Confused, I remind him about the leftovers and turn over to go back to sleep, but he gets grumpy and tells me I need to make him something fresh, now. I'm honestly completely confused and so sleepy while he rattles on about coconut shrimp or something. Still half asleep, I just stare at him as I try to work out what the F is happening. I'm guessing my silence pissed him off as he started having a go at me for not doing my duty as his girlfriend. That woke me up fully and I told him to get out of my house. His attitude changed then and he was apologizing, but I just repeated myself, and eventually he left the room. I followed him, picking up his stuff, put it into a bag, and once again told him to get out. He looked like a deer in headlights. He kept trying to say sorry and hug me, and it was only when I threw his car keys into his arms that he realized I was serious and left. This was Sunday morning. It's now Monday night and I still refuse to speak to him. He's tried calling and texting, but I'm honestly just annoyed and dumbfounded. I know I'll have to speak to him at some point, but I don't want to. He's an idiot. If and when I do speak to him, I'll update. For now, I'm going to bed. Update. Glad to know I'm not the only one who thinks this is stupid. Also, to the ones who said I should have just done it or agreed with the man-child, thank you, I needed a laugh today. On to the update. He came into my job to talk and explained that his friends saw a video of a woman being woken up to cook for her man, and they decided to test it out on their partners as a loyalty test. So my initial judgment of him being an idiot was correct. He was surprised when I broke up with him, but he was calm and accepting, albeit sad. Either way, that's over with. Am I overreacting for threatening to take my sister to court after her toddler destroyed my $2,000 gaming setup because she said I should have baby-proofed my apartment? So I, 25 female, am a student software developer and a pretty serious PC gamer in my free time. I live alone in a one-bedroom apartment that I've spent years making cozy and functional. I saved up for a long time to build my dream PC setup. Triple monitors, custom mechanical keyboard, ergonomic chair, the works. Altogether, my rig is worth a bit over $2,000, and I take care of it like it's a damn child. Last weekend, my older sister, 30, asked if she could crash at my place for one night because her apartment was being fumigated, and her husband was out of town. She has a 3-year-old son, Max, who's, let's say, spirited. I love him, but he's a little chaos goblin. I hesitated, but she swore she'd keep an eye on him and that it'd just be for one night. They showed up Saturday afternoon, and immediately it's clear she wasn't kidding about Max being a handful. Within 10 minutes of arriving, he'd pulled 4 books off my shelf, thrown my houseplants on the floor, and spilled juice on my area rug. I tried to stay chill. He's 3, I get it. But I asked my sister politely to please keep him out of my office, where my PC setup is. She rolls her eyes and goes, "He's just exploring, he's curious, it's normal." But she closes the office door anyway. Cut to Sunday morning. I wake up to screaming. Max had apparently woken up before his mom, managed to open the office door, and decided my setup was his new jungle gym. He pulled down one of my monitors, cracking the screen. He stuck crackers into the PC tower's ventilation slots. I'm not kidding. Yanked out my keyboard's keycaps and had colored on my chair with permanent marker. The cherry on top? He poured apple juice into the tower. Into it. When I tell you I went silent, I mean dead silent. My sister comes in, sees the damage, and just says, "Oh no." in this incredibly flat tone like someone knocked over a cup of coffee. I start freaking out and she has the audacity to say, "You should have baby-proofed the room if it was that important to you." I lost it. I told her that 1, she knew he wasn't supposed to be in there. 2, this is my space, not a damn daycare. And 3, baby-proofing a $2,000 gaming setup is not a standard requirement for adults living alone. She told me to calm down and said that he's just a kid and stuff is replaceable. I told her she could replace it then. She said she didn't have the money right now, but maybe in a few months she could give me a few hundred. I told her that wasn't acceptable and she needed to take full responsibility. She left in a huff and now my whole family is blowing up my phone. My mom says I'm being materialistic and should understand that my nephew didn't mean it. My dad said I should have locked the door if it was that important. My brother actually said, "Why do you even need 3 monitors anyway? That's kind of overkill." I've filed a claim with my insurance, but there's no guarantee it'll be covered since it was technically guest damage. I also told her that if she does not pay up, I'll take her to court for what happened. Now I'm getting texts from my sister demanding an apology for blaming her kid for being curious. I told her I'd drop it if she covered the cost of repairs and replacements, or at least met me halfway, and she blocked me. Update: my sister's husband reached out and we're working out a solution if possible. He's been really understanding, as have all of you. Yeah, OP's sister definitely just needs to take responsibility for it and pay up. She was a guest and agreed to keep an eye on her own kid and keep him out of trouble, and was also even told to stay out of the office. Anyone saying, "Well, it's just a kid, you should be more understanding," or that OP is just being materialistic, is ignoring the fact of the matter, which is that a guest caused a lot of damage. Why should OP have to shoulder the cost of replacing the stuff when she was doing her sister a favor in the first place by even letting her stay there? I'm sure OP's sister and any of their other family members that are trying to make excuses about this would feel very differently if someone went into their home and destroyed a bunch of expensive stuff. Neighbor thinks he owns my driveway and had a construction crew on it. My neighbors were and are in the middle of building a garage which they won't be able to use unless I let them use my driveway. Not sure if it is relevant, but I am 29. The new neighbors are probably in their early 30s and my previous neighbor was 78. I allowed my neighbor to use my driveway roughly a year and a half ago to get to his yard to park his car on his back terrace. He had no fence there and my backyard is fenced. After he asked me, he told me he was having trouble finding a parking spot on our busy street, and he was no longer able to walk bigger distances. I would rather not allow anything like that most of the time, but we were always on good terms. And well, it didn't really hurt me as I only had one car at the time, so didn't need the extra space he would need to pass my car and get to his terrace. Just to be clear, from the back of my backyard in a straight line to the edge of my neighbor's house all the way to the sidewalk is mine. There is no rite of passage, no shared ownership, it's all mine. Around 5 months ago, my neighbor moved out and went to live in assisted living. His daughter put his house up for sale, and that's as much as I know about that. I figured it would go back to how it was. My grandpa since gifted me his 2 motorcycles, which take up roughly the space of a car, and my girlfriend is over 5 out of 7 days. So the situation has changed in terms of space, and I utilized the full width of the driveway. The house was sold 3 months ago. Anyhow, I went on a holiday for about 3 weeks shortly after, and I come home to a bunch of cars and machines sitting in my driveway, with a bunch of dudes building a garage where my neighbor's terrace was. It got really heated as I made all the construction guys and their stuff get the hell off of my property, and later had a huge argument with the neighbors where they claimed they bought the house with the driveway, and how half the driveway was theirs. I told them I had all my paperwork in order, but they can call the local council to have them send one of their dudes to measure it. After that, they quickly shifted gears, stating they had right of passage because the previous owner had it. I told them I personally allowed him to temporarily use my driveway because of his age and walking issues. After a lot more cursing, I told them I was done talking, and the next time I see them park on my driveway, I'll have them towed and report them for trespassing. I ended up extending my fence out of petty spite, essentially blocking in their garage and closing the opening. They've been over several times trying to get me to agree to give them right of way, offering to purchase part of the driveway and so forth. My girlfriend has been there since the start and has recently told me I am being a bit of a jerk, as the neighbors likely bought the place thinking they had right of way. So am I? Well, it's kind of the neighbor's own fault that they're in this situation in the first place. They should have verified where the actual property lines were before they even started building a garage, but it sounds like they were just working off an assumption, and now they've already started building a garage that they won't even be able to access and use. That really isn't anyone else's problem. And if OP doesn't want to sell part of their property, then the neighbors are just going to have to get over it and work something else out. Embarrassing my stepmom at dinner after she tried to teach me a lesson about my real mom. I, 18 female, live with my dad and my stepmom, 43. My mom passed away when I was 10, and it's still a sensitive subject for me. My stepmom came into the picture a couple of years later, and while we're civil, we're definitely not close. She's always had this weird vibe, like she's trying to compete with my mom even though my mom isn't here. She gets snippy when I talk about her or wear anything that belonged to her, like my mom's old necklace I wear basically every day. Anyway, a few nights ago we were out for dinner with my dad, stepmom, and her parents. Her mom asked about the necklace, and I said, "It was my mom's, she gave it to me before she passed. I wear it every day." Stepmom immediately cut in with, "Well, technically, I'm your mom now. I've done more mothering in the last 8 years than she did in 10. I swear the whole table went silent. I just laughed and said, "If you think being a mom is about trying to erase the actual one, then yeah, you've been amazing." She looked like she'd been slapped. Her mom gasped. My dad told me to apologize, but I refused. I said I was tired of her acting like my mom never existed and I wasn't going to play along anymore. Now my stepmom is barely speaking to me and my dad says I need to be the bigger person because she's just trying to connect. But to me, that didn't feel like connection. That felt like erasure. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today. Thank you for watching. As always, I do appreciate it. If you enjoyed, be sure to hit that like button, drop a comment down below, and subscribe if you haven't already. So take care, stay tuned for more, and I'll see you in the next one.